Welcome back to This is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to talk about Commander Tough Rules and Cool Interactions, episode 114. Today's episode is going to take a look at another recently spoiled card from the upcoming Murders at Markov Manor set, and how it interacts with a new mechanic that is being added in this very same set as well, but also how it can be used in combination with a previous mechanic in Magic that's very similar to the new one. So let's begin. The new card is Assemble the Players, and it's an enchantment that says, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. And there's also some text that says, once each turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. So we've seen effects similar to this in many forms before. So now let's get to the new mechanic in this set and see how we can make things complicated, as this is the theme of this entire series. So here is a new card from the set called Fairy Snoop. It is a 1/4 flying creature that has Disguise, and Disguise is the new mechanic, and it says that you may cast this card face down for 3 generic mana as a 2/2 creature with Ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its Disguise cost. So you probably noticed some similarities with this Disguise ability and the Morph ability that was introduced to Magic all the way back in Onslaught. So it's pretty safe to say that if this 1/4 Fairy Snoop were on the top of your library while you controlled Assemble the Players, then you would be able to pay the 1 generic blue-black to cast it. But what about Disguise? Would you be able to disguise it from your library if it were the top card of your library? While on the top of your library, the game would see that it is a 1/4 creature card, and Disguise is an alternate way to cast the creature. So it would seem like this should work, right? Well, before I answer this, let's jump straight to an even weirder scenario. You control the Assemble the Players, but now when you look at the top card of your library, you see that it is a branch of the Vitu-Ghazi, which is a land that can tap for a colorless mana, but also it has Disguise for 3 generic. So the question becomes, can you cast your branch off the top of your library via the Assemble? While on the top of your library, your branch doesn't have a power because it's not even a creature card on the top of your library. It's just a land. So clearly this shouldn't work, right? So the answer to both of these questions are that yes, you can cast both of them via Disguise from the top of your library. To find out why this is possible, we have to take a look at the comprehensive rules in section 601.3e that says, some rules and effects state that an alternative set of characteristics or a subset of characteristics are considered to determine if a card or copy of a card is legal to cast. These alternative characteristics replace the object's characteristics for this determination. Continuous effects that would apply to that object once it has those characteristics are also considered. So the alternative characteristics of these cards, if they were to be cast via their Disguise, is that they would be a creature with 2 power. So those are the characteristics that will be used to consider this, not that the branch is a creatureless land with no power. For some similar situations, you could also apply this to cards like Zoetic Cavern, which is a land that has Morph, or even you could use cards like Mystic Forge that lets you cast artifacts and colorless spells from the top of your library. Normally, you cannot play lands from your library using the Forge because it only lets you cast spells from the top, and while lands are colorless cards, they are not spells being cast. But the Forge would let you cast things if you're using Morph or Disguise to cast them, as their characteristics on the stack would be that they are colorless creature spells. So here's a little bonus question for the fans who love these bonus questions. This one may not be too crazy tough, but you know that I like to try and throw a curveball in when I can, even if it is a gentle curveball. You control the Assemble the Players, and then you cast Realm Walker, which says, as Realm Walker enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the chosen type from the top of your library. And as it entered, you picked Elf as the creature type. Then you look at the top card of your library, and it is an undercover Croco Elf, which is a creature that has the types Elf, Crocodile, and Detective. Isn't Magic in 2024 just interesting with its types? Anyhow, it has Disguise for 3 Hybrid Simic, and all you have is that 5 total mana, not the 6 that you would need to cast it normally. Could you disguise it out via the Assemble the Players? Now, this set is being very good to you Arcades players between this enchantment that lets you cast your low power walls from the top of your library, and also there's the Pride of Whole Clade card. This thing is super cool. Like, this thing says draw 15 cards on it. What a wild card. What a time to be alive for wall decks. I'll be adding both of these cards to my Arcades decks, but what about you guys? Are you guys going to be adding some of these things, some of these really wild, goofy little cards to any of your decks? Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that you have found this video to be entertaining at least, and I hope that a few of you have even learned something about these crazy rules in this great game of Magic. Have a good one. Ta-ta.